Have you ever wondered if it's possible to make it on YouTube as an overnight sensation? Have you ever wondered what it takes to go from zero to hero on YouTube with a concerted effort? Well, I'm trying it. I'm giving it 60 days to become at least monetized YouTuber. And hopefully I can create enough pizzazz, hoo-ha, to get, that was dumb. I might have to cut that. But create enough buzz to keep the train going and to become a million sub YouTuber and beyond. And maybe compete with some of these guys. But for now, I'm trying to become a monetized YouTuber in 60 days or less.
Of Forbes as a billionaire, and she was 20. Mr. Beast, he will be a sense of billionaire. Right now, the entire economy has shifted. The last century was a century about power. And when I say power, I mean like energy. The wealthiest individuals of the last century were built on oil. The biggest companies were all energy companies. Fast forward today, 4 out of the top 5 biggest companies in the world are not built on the old oil, but the new oil. And the oil of today is attention.
Rise in teens on TikTok.
It's day 2 for me of my 60-day challenge. And as Hormozy says, the new oil is attention. So I'm starting this because it's important to have that, for lack of a better word, high social credit score. And so it's day 2. I'm starting my social media journey, and here it is, man. Let's go. Here's another
thing that is being pumped and drilled every day is the attention of the masses. You have 24 hours a day that your ears are open. You have 24 hours a day that your eyes are open. And so the idea is, how can we capture as many of those hours from as many people as possible, and the war for our minds?
For me, the stuff is all about like helping people connect.
The total amount of attention that exists is every human's eyes and ears collectively 24 hours a day. That is the pie, and they're fighting for it. People who are creating the platforms that other companies can come and drill, they're basically the digital landscape. They've enveloped the world. They're literally buying up the real estate of the collective attention that exists. The oil tycoons had to go and buy a state, negotiate, haggle with the farmer to get his things. The new world today, they don't need to haggle with anyone. They just take it. Scarce resources are the things that are the most valuable. And so oil was the scarce resource. And now attention is the scarce resource. And so that's why attention is the new.
Okay, so what have I accomplished as far as the last 2 days have gone? I've been posting shorts, so I have about 350, 400-ish shorts already in my library. I've got about 30 regular videos. The regular videos are, most of them are very low quality as far as there's no editing, they haven't been clipped right, it's very unpolished. So those will probably get cleaned up as we go along here, but some of my big goals have been thumbnails, subtitles, and then just general editing improvement and incorporation of my original speaking, my original content with some of the content that I'm actually interested in, mixing in some clips with some of what I'm doing and what my goals are. So building in public here, doing what I can. I'm going to share another clip here from My First Million, where they talk about getting some great business. Sean Puri, one of the hosts, as well as Sam Parr. Sean tells Sam about some great business advice that he received from his trainer during one of their training sessions.
I was asking about his business. I was trying to help him with his business, and he ended up dropping like like I thought I'm the business guy. I'm going to share with him this great knowledge. And I was like, you got to think about your niche, your audience, who's your idea, who's your customer persona. And I was like, just looking back, just cringe city about like trying to help him with these things. And he just said, I was like, you don't have a website, you don't have a business card, blah, blah, blah. And he just go, and I was like, so who's your, you got to know who's your customer. He goes, my customers are people that love what I do. And I was like, okay, that sounds like some smooth ass R&B lyric, but what does that mean? What are you going to do with that? He's like, and I didn't understand at that time, but he's like, that's it. He's like, my customers are going to be the people that love what I do. And he's like, okay, well, what do you do? He's like, I'll train you on your fitness. And during that session, I'll train your mind as much as your body, right? It's mindset. And because the mindset's totally aligned with this stuff. And that's what I'm into. And I'll just share with you stuff that I'm doing with my own training, with my own mindset training or my personal training. I'll work out with you together sometimes and I'll come to your house and we'll just kick it for hours. I don't watch the clock, right? Like that's how I want to live. And people, my customers are going to be people who want that. And I'm not going to try to go backwards and say, what does the market want? I'm going to conform myself to it. And so there was this real artist streak to it. I thought, all right, well, that sounds cool, but like that shit doesn't work in the real world. Sure enough, how did it work? I was his only client, I think, at the time. And we work out like in my garage, but we just leave the garage open. And then people walk by and he just super friendly with them, but never says like, hey, by the way, if you ever are interested in my services, here's my card. Never. Like they would walk by, he would joke around with them, sort of like just flirt with people. And then he would just like, go back and keep doing our thing. He's just a happy guy. By like the 7th day, people are like, man, it looks like y'all are having fun. The music looks fun. The home gym, they saw us like setting it up each day would get better. They saw us joking around. They would see I'm breaking a sweat. They would see how we're using, like we'd use our tree and we'd use all this stuff that was just around us because I didn't have all this equipment. And it just looked like two people having a lot of fun. And so my neighbor signs
just
up.
a bunch of sweaty, shirtless guys hugging. You know what
just
I mean?
Hanging off of trees and just touching each other's body. And so guess what? People wanted some of that. And so my neighbor signs up. Then her husband signs up. Then the other neighbor signs up. Then my sister's visiting. She does a workout. She signs up. My mom signs up. My brother-in-law signs up. My niece and nephew sign up. Everybody starts signing up. This guy now is a full roster. Still never had a website. Never had a business card. Never went and knocked on a door or tried to do a sales pitch. All these people like conform their schedules to him.
He's not even a trainer. He's just a guy who just comes in, hangs out, talk.
The best thing they talk about there is somebody who's gone, who's the trainer who has taken a path of doing what they enjoy. There's also, I'll share another clip where they talk about some of the other avenues you can go into, whether that's curating content, whether that's remixing content, commentary on content, a lot of different ways that you can be successful in the content creation or just in the shareable marketplace. And my goal is to, number one, to do what I enjoy doing, and to tape that and put that online. So that would be the trainer approach. I have another approach of remixing content, which would be, clipping things, doing my shorts, just clipping things that I'm interested in. All of this revolves around doing things that I'm interested in and that I know that other people are interested in and watch. And my demographic is whoever does similar stuff to me. And so I'm trying to do the curating, the remixing, and the original content all in one. That's my approach, because I think that I think eventually that'll be the way that a lot of people go, but I think that's a way that I can show a lot of different ways, a lot of different interests, engage with a lot of different types of people, and have the most avenues for success, because I'm trying out the most different, all the different things that I'm interested in, instead of just doing fitness and going for fitness. And if that doesn't work, then it's all a bust. Or, going for just a vlogger, YouTuber, and if that doesn't work, then it's a bust. So, that's the approach that I'm taking. We'll see. I'm sure that I'll get feedback based on like what I do well and what I don't do well, and as far as the views go, and what pops and what doesn't pop, and I'll to some degree I'll have to go with what pop. I will have to go where the views are to some degree, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be doing things I'm not interested in. It just means that if the fitness stuff is popping more than anything else, then you do the fitness stuff more than anything else. That doesn't mean that you don't do anything else, but it means that you do that more than anything else. And so that's my approach.
He's like, and that's how I got my first 10,000 subscribers. He's like, and after you get 10,000, there's psychologically this thing where you'll just start growing faster because people want to follow popular accounts.
What was your advice though to these people on growing an audience?
My advice was pretty simple. I don't think you should grow an audience for the sake of growing an audience. The audience is basically a byproduct of you doing something else you really want to do. If you just got that itch you want to scratch, I want to create content. I've seen YouTubers, I think I could do it. That's actually a better reason to go do it than if I can get to 1 million subscribers, then I'll upsell my merch to this percentage of them and I can make this much money. It's don't do the calculating way to do it. Just be I'm doing this because either, in my case, it was I'm super curious about these topics and how am I going to justify spending 9 hours reading about this bullshit topic that I have no agenda for? Well, if I had a podcast or a YouTube channel, then I could just make the content out of that. Then it has a kind of a purpose to my curiosity. I have an endpoint to it. I have a justification for my curiosity. I get to be professionally curious. Or
lately,
when I originally started the pod, I literally wrote this in a doc. I've shared this before. I wrote, most likely nobody's going to listen to this, but there's a hack. Really smart and interesting, successful people are willing to go on a podcast, even if they don't know how many listeners it has. And so at the very, my main goal is to just have an excuse to meet with 50 awesome people that live in San Francisco. I'm in the tech hub of the world, San Francisco, and I don't drink coffee. So I don't want to just invite these guys to coffee. I'll invite them on my podcast instead. That was my whole number one success criteria and number one agenda with starting this.
Get a good library in place to where I have a lot of different content or content that my viewers can binge on, so that I can rack up hours quickly when I do start to get viewer flow in. Now the viewer flow has been decent. The shorts have been a good strategy. I've gotten about 248,000 views on my channel in the past 28 days, 220 subscribers, 3,000 hours of watch time. So those are good numbers to start. My goal in the next week and a half or 2 weeks is to gain, I want to get over the 1,000 subscriber mark. Maybe a little bit too high of a goal, but hopefully I can get one of my regular YouTube videos to hit a little bit more. I've got a couple that have hit, but really need some bangers in the regular videos department, not just the shorts, so that I can start to register some, because you don't get credit for the shorts watch hours, and you do get credit for the regular watch hours towards your monetization. Now once you get monetized, the story may be different, but as far as where you're at before you get monetized, the shorts don't count towards watch hours. So while the shorts has been a good strategy, it also has been, it can't take me there alone. So I need to get my regular video game up. As far as getting more viral hits, I do have plans to do some street interviews, and then my fitness channel I just got online, so I've got some plans for that. So I've got some different strategies for going for a viral hit, I guess you'd say. But I'm just trying to document starting this, doing the 60-day challenge, and seeing where that goes. there's a lot of interest in becoming a YouTuber, in starting a channel, how to do it from scratch, how to do it as kind of a personality from scratch or not a personality from scratch. I know that that's true with the regular videos, with the crossover between the shorts and the regular videos now that I'm doing it. But you know, you learn those lessons when you start, and you know, I'm happy with how things are going so far on the 2-day challenge or 60-day challenge, day 2. A long way to go, a lot more to create. So, you know, stay tuned. Both, you know, I guess a personal brand in public, and kind of up my social media, my social credit score, I guess you could say. So that's the goal right now. So yeah, there's a lot of strategies for me to win with, and you know, I'm gonna try them all. So I'm looking forward to this journey, and I'm just gonna leave you with this last clip from my first million about some of the different strategies that you can take on as a content creator to become successful. Enjoy. And please guys, like, comment, subscribe down below, ring the bell. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Coolest hack ever for a young man. You just do dope shit and then you just bring along people. And that's kind of like that with content.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think there are a bunch of different ways to win. You could be like Ben for How to Take Over the World. I would say he's curious about these, you know, great men in history, or like these, you know, these sort of like biographies or whatever. And then what he does a service. He says, I'll save you time. So I call him a time saver because he packages it down into something concise. The Hustle's newsletter and Milk Road's newsletter is exactly that. It's a time saver. So what do? You curate, you package, you deliver. Then you have, like, you know, sort of like a remixer. A remixer basically takes maybe 1 or 2 unrelated things, spins them together, puts them together, and puts that out there. You have an original content creator. That's like a Naval or a Balaji. They're coming up with like independent theses about the world and opinions and analyses that really just originate from them, and they put that out in the world. And then you have what I'll call like a lifestyle influencer. That's what you're talking about, which was lead an interesting life, share 10% of it. So there's all these different play styles that you can use. It's like in a video game. It's like, you want to play tank, you want to play DPS, you want to play healer, you can play all these different roles, and they're all winning. You just have to know which play style you're trying to play. So I see that with content. But the one you recommended, which is live an interesting life and then share 10% of it, I think that is the most fun play style to play.
And the most valuable.
And the most valuable and the most unique, because anybody, honestly, no offense to Trung, but like many people do, and anybody can go read fucking Reddit and Wikipedia and like create a thread of, you know, here's the story of how whatever the dude created Starbucks.